a little bit of beginning part. So again, you can kind of see I've sketched it out slightly, a little bit there, but it's still this character shape. If it's just a flat circle, it's the shape, and using the elements of design with the line, shape, value, color, and texture, we're just working with the line and the shape. This horizontal line, or thinking of it like the longitude and latitude lines on a globe, again, this, if you saw the other side of it, would have this backing. They show it on some of them, but not all of them, and if you can still push that idea, it helps your dimensional feel to the sketch. But again, as a formula type drawing for this style or any other type of animation, that's the center line that's picking up the the nose there. So there's the circles on either side. So again, as a character sheet, this triangular shape is in a little bit of a perspective. It's foreshortened. You see more of the face on this side than on this side of it. The elliptical shapes that you're putting in for the eyes, also, if you took the top of them and wrapped it around, there'd be another circle that goes around there to try to see the top of that. And again, I'm just adjusting the iris and the pupil combination there. The eyebrow, that goes, this is echoing, or it's repeating this at a distance. Okay, so it's pretty well established. And then the subtle feature, just like taking the nose, it's the same idea of trying to say I'm come around and putting the lighter line, or the thinner part of the line, on the bottom part of the character, and I'll show you some more samples as we go. And then the cheek helps establish the corners of the mouth. And as it turns around, they flatten it out, but you can give it a little bump out, a little extension there. And then it comes down to the center and up. So it gives me a little bit of room to work with. Now, all of these mouths, like I said, as you're trying to round them off, even though it just starts off as a geometric shape for the triangle, and there's the round part. So pretty close, you have it almost complete. And again, taking the eye, we'll talk about the anatomy and things happening, but I'm just putting a little bit of a highlight and even a little reflected light in here, and the reflected light is in the shadow part, but it's still pretty glossy, gives the eye a little bit of a wet look to it. And then the eyebrow from here, and it does take on a little bit. So as this fits in with the rest of the characters in this composition, it's pretty well established. So again, here's the side of the head as we start getting into more things in the future, but just trying to help that out. And then putting a little thicker line down at the bottom here, just to make that shape. So it becomes a little closer. Now, the last two of these, when you take a look, this is a little bit more of a profile, and a profile is just an extreme side view of the character. So this is the character. So just kind of given the circular shape. In this case, it could be flat, but it's always a good idea just to throw a little bit of a curve in there, just to give it something to work from. And they flatten everything out, so I'm going to extend a little bit, so you're only seeing the nose shape, the cheek, and the one side for the eye. Again, this echoing, meaning if this is concentric circles around the eyebrow to the eye. So it really makes it fit in there. And then the mouth, you're only going to see, again, the triangle shape of that. But once you establish that triangular piece, here's the top part of the cheek where the eye rests on. The nose, they kind of put a little separately there. And depending on where, I'm going to have this guy also looking up. Then it comes down. So now I can see that the mouth comes down depending on how far. So I can, the lip helps. I started to put in a chin into there, and it gives a little bit more space. And again, just trying to bring that piece together. So any of the animation that you see, doesn't matter what style it is, you're going to see this beginning part, and if it shows you how to draw it, they're definitely doing these preliminary sketches underneath it. I mean, you can try to draw the finished line, but you're always thinking how this is built up in the basic shape of it all. And then this last character is from the top view. So There's the top view. Here's this kind of center line. Even then, they just give it a little bit of a elliptical shape to it. The nose is this is what they call a little bit of foreshortening, where you can't see. You're so close to it that objects in the foreground are larger than the background. And it just assists in the distortion, but also in the dimension of the character. So here you can see just the tops of the cheeks. You don't see the mouth at all. So it's a little trick here as you go through. And we haven't really talked too much about the shading, but as you go through this, you're trying to establish all of the highlights, the quarter tone, half tone, base tone, reflected light, just a 6-tone value scale. And builds that part up, so here. So for example, in this case, if the light source was coming from this direction on a circular section, this would start to be half of the shading onto the side. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of just the beginning part of it. And there's all the characters, but like I said, when you're done, you just take a nice parallel photo of that to submit, and then you'll be all set.